Hey guys, so this is going to be a quick video showing you a new Adobe Premiere Pro preset pack that I'm releasing to you guys. Just check out the link in the description. Now this one's called Flicker Effect, and what that means is basically this is a preset pack that will allow you to house all of your flicker effects and transitions in one location. Now I want this to be your go-to for everything, so if you guys have an idea for a flicker effect or a transition, hit me up in the comments below and I will update this pack accordingly. It has all of the tools ready for you to manipulate and keyframe, but you can create pretty much anything you want with this preset pack. I have another preset pack called Rgb Splits currently for $3. If this video gets 1,000 likes, I will offer that preset pack up for free because that is another flicker transition effect pack that I have currently. So without further ado, let's jump on into what you can create with this preset pack. Well, that was absolutely spectacular. As mentioned before, be sure to check out the link in the description to figure out how you guys can get your hands on this preset pack. Once you have downloaded the preset pack, navigate to wherever you downloaded that preset pack, and you'll notice it is a zip file. You can simply right-click and click on Extract All and extract that to your desired location. Remember that location because we're going to head on back into Premiere, right-click on Presets under the Effects tab, and click on Import Presets. Once you clicked on Import Presets, you're going to navigate to wherever you downloaded this preset pack to. Your file should look something like Flicker Effects Holland. Click on that and click on Open. You'll notice that whenever we click Open, it opens up Holland presets and then a Flicker Effects folder. Under the Flicker Effects folder, we have a ton of different flicker effects, and I'm going to go over everything as fast as I can. Since these are flicker effects, they normally last only a couple frames, but you can play around with how long you want these to last. As you can see in my beginning shot right here, you can see that these are a couple frames long, but a lot of flickering is going on. And if we jump into like one of these flicker effects, you can see that all of these keyframes are completely modular and you can drag them around to your desired preference. Flicker effects should only happen to a particular song or when a beat is dropping. They shouldn't happen constantly. That example in the beginning was kind of overwhelming, but you'll get the general idea. So how this is going to work, I'm going to show you in a transition sequence, and then I'm also going to show you with a standalone video. So the transition I'm going to create is this little transition between these two videos. I'm going to go 3 frames before by using the arrow keys. I'm going to hit C on the keyboard and cut right there. And then I'm going to go 3 frames back to the middle of the clip. And then I'm also going to go 3 frames ahead of the clip. Hit C on the keyboard and we're going to make a cut right there again. So you notice we have 6 frames total right here. Highlight both those, right click and go to Nest. That'll merge it into one single clip for that transition. This happens so fast, so now watch. If we go through any of these flicker effects and drag them on, it'll be applied for that fast little flicker transition and etc. You can pretty much do any flicker effect that I have and play around with a bunch of these just right away because there are so many flicker effects to be playing with, and it's actually pretty awesome. Looking at this preset pack, you'll notice that I organized it into 3 categories: blur, light and color, and then also motion. If you click the arrow next to the blur folder, it'll open up another folder with a subfolder called directional. The directional folder basically means that all of these are completely blurrable by a certain degree of direction. And I'm going to go through everything really quick so you can see what they do. The first one under the blur is called blur blocks. You drag that onto your clip and it creates 2 of these blocks that are blurry. Now, if you play back through it, nothing's really happening. So if you click on the Effects and Controls tab, you'll see that I am simply adjusting the mask expansion on these clips so that they either shrink and get bigger. But the big thing about it is you click on the mask and then you are instantly granted access to customize this blur block to your desired preference. And you aren't just limited by simply dragging and clicking these around. You can add points on here by clicking here and going like this. So you can get some really interesting effects. This preset pack is designed to overlay multiple different effects. So if I just drag on a few right here, you'll see that eventually it'll start to create something that is quite interesting. So now if we play back through this, you guys will see that I have a ton of different effects applied onto it to create this interesting effect. And as always, you can keyframe everything. So if I wanted to, I could keyframe the mask path to make that change over time if I wanted to. The next effect is Checkerboard. Drag Checkerboard on there, which pretty much adds this crazy little effect going on, and you can drag these around your desired preference, play around with these different numbers to see what they do, the vertical blocks, and then also the horizontal blocks and stuff, because it's pretty fun to be able to manipulate this to your desired preference. The next one is Color Channel Blur. It pretty much blurs certain color channels at a certain time, which is pretty cool because if you look into the Effects Controls tab, you can manipulate the red blurriness, green, and blue blurriness. So next one we have is Noise. As you guessed it, it is simply just a noise generator. This one's all manual, so you'll be able to manipulate the amount of noise as well as using color. Directional blur soft basically means that it is a directional blur that happens every frame, and strong, which happens every frame. So what this basically is a directional blur. So if it's at 0 right now, it's going to be vertical. If I set it to 90, it should be horizontal, as you can see. And as you can see, this is pretty short, so if you wanted to create this longer, simply highlight all these keyframes and hold Alt on the keyboard and click and drag those keyframes so that they will be longer. But you can manipulate these keyframes to your desired preference, like we mentioned before. The next one is horizontal 10% through 50% and vertical 10% through 50%. It's kind of like the same directional blur, only it's a little customized for you. So directional blur actually blurs the footage. This one actually just rescales the side of the footage. So a lot of these video effects will happen from trial and error and just kind of playing around. So what we're going to do is hold Alt on the keyboard and click on our clip and drag up. That'll copy or duplicate the clip on top. So now that we have this clip on top, I will rescale the clip and move it around to my desired preference, and then I'll throw on an effect onto that clip. And then once that effect's on there, I will adjust the opacity down to 50%. And then you get this really cool overlay effect that you can manipulate. And granted, most glitch effects are actually pretty short. So just keep in mind that you can manipulate this in certain areas and take out and re-add in certain points. So yeah, keep playing around with that. The next one that I'm gonna look at is light and color. This one's pretty fun. So we have this first three are color separation. This is basically separating the color channels. If I scrub through this, you'll see that the RGB color channel is kind of getting separated. Now this isn't as advanced as my RGB glitch pack, but it surely gets the effect done. So this is one of my favorite glitch effects. So as you can see, you go into the Effects Controls tab. Under the color separation effect, you can see that I have manipulated the relief on here, and you can mess around with these different settings to get some different effects. Now, if we look at the other color separation, you'll see that that degree is 90 and it was going sideways. If we go 180 degrees, it'll go vertical or up and down. And the same thing for 45 degrees. It'll go to the diagonals. You can mess around with negative numbers as well, but keep playing around with it because you guys can create anything. So the next one is hue. You drag on hue. I basically adjust the color in this rainbow, chromatic, whatever you want to call. And you can, again, move these around to whatever you want to create something. So let's go on to the next one, and that is Invert. Invert basically is like a solarizer. It inverts the channels, and this is the custom tweaking stuff that I have created. That's pretty fun to play around with. Levels are the same thing, but just lights, and it's just a super high contrast and stuff. You can play around with those as well. And then lights is actually another complex one that I don't know if you guys will use as much, but basically it creates this light, and it's in light 1, and you can change this light to a directional light, a omni light, or a spotlight, and you can control the radius and stuff like that. So if I want to set this radius down to, let's say 15, I have a light that I can control and keyframe across certain locations to create a more vibrant corner or area of the glitch effect. I don't recommend using these as much because they definitely use a lot of processing power. Continuing on, we have the on-off, which is your standard flicker. As you can see, it goes on, off, on, off. And this is on, off every frame. On, off, on, off, on, off. Now, under the last tab, we have motion. Motion is basically every transition that has to do with moving the image around in a certain way. Pincushion random is pretty cool because we just got this crazy pincushion effect that we can manipulate under the Effects Controls tab. As you can see, we have a ton of curvature adjustments, but you'll notice that if we literally just go in here and vertical decentering, you play with a lot of stuff, you'll get some really crazy effects going on, as you'll see by the next one, which is pincushion scale. So pincushion scale pretty much takes the whole clip and it scales the effect to that clip so that the middle of the clip will be happening. So this is a nice transition one, but as you can see, if we go through here, you can get some really interesting effects if you play with the horizontal and vertical decentering and stuff like that. The last one I'm going to talk about is the scramble. These are scramble from lower left to upper right to lower left, etc. There's all diagonal ones. This is pretty much something that basically scrambles from the upper left to lower right, or vice versa if you want to put on a different effect. I like applying all these effects, but as you guys saw in the very beginning, you can simply overlay these videos. You can put them on the original videos, but to get the effect is basically playing around with the video, because you never know what you can actually create until you actually play it. Most glitch effects are actually done to sound, so keep that in mind and go to freesound.org if you want to get something for free. But that's all for now, guys. If you guys enjoyed the tutorial, be sure to click that thumbs up and subscribe, because I'm going to be making some more stuff in the future. I'll see you next time.